Good evening, brothers and sisters. This is your host of KYP, Alejandro Ibrahim, coming to you with another episode of Conscious Moves in Media. I want to first want to thank our guest coming on today, Brother Jaiden Fraser. He is currently a junior at Page High School, my high school that I just graduated from last year. He's also part of Team Voyage and is a captain there. So first of all, I want to thank you for coming on today, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, most definitely. So today, both of his parents are from the great island of Jamaica, which has rich African and Caribbean roots in it. So today we want to talk to him about what it means to be part of the Jamaican culture and how that adds to African diaspora. So my first question for you is, what makes Jamaican history so unique as part of the Black world experience? What makes Jamaican history unique itself?
I think one of the things that makes Jamaican history so rich and unique is that even parts of the history that were around way back when, we still carry lots of those things today. Like the carnivals, I wouldn't say they're so historic, but a lot of times you see a lot of African celebrations that we keep in our carnivals, and there's a lot of traditions that we keep that you still see in Africa today. And even some of the things we went through to fight for our independence. I mean, we went through a lot, there was a whole civil war, and even after they got their independence, the people were being manipulated. So, I mean, we went through everything.
That's facts, bro. My great grandma actually from Jamaica. So I mean, one thing, like, it's Easter Sunday, right? One thing I remember that my mom said they would make bunny cheese,
Yep.
as part of the practice. That's one thing I remember. And some other things, like patois, the language being spoken outside the African dialect. So, it has a really rich history to it. But another thing I also want to ask you is, what's the importance of Jamaican maroons? Because that's some serious stuff right there. People actually left slavery and established their own community away from the white people, to where the white people, were losing money fighting and they left them alone. Just like, explain that to me. Why is that so important?
I mean, I think the Maroons were probably one of like the first freedom fighters before that was even a thing. You know, Queen Nanny and all of them. I just saw something today that they're still around. They just selected a new chief. So, I mean, they stood up for what Jamaica stands up for now. You know, we right now the people are going through a lot of oppression and manipulation, and it's like the Maroons were that like stand up and fight against oppression. They were around and they were the example of what we should have been doing. Everybody had that slave mentality, but they were standing out. They, like you said, they created their own civilization. They were up in the mountains. They fought off mad oppression. They basically had many wars that no one knows about, and they stood their ground for a pretty good while. So I think it's important because even now, problems we face today, they found solutions to. And I think looking back at their history is something we could do to solve our own problems now in the future.
Most definitely. And I feel like they're very underrated in Black history. We talk
Yeah.
about Nat Turner. We talk about Gabriel Prosser, other people in Americas, that had revolution, the Haitian Revolution. But I mean, these guys actually were able to establish an African presence on a different continent. It's the same thing with the Colombos up in Brazil. We did the same exact thing with Ganga Zumba. They had their own independent place called Palmares, which was the same thing where they had African tradition and culture, but under a Western oppression, so under Western sphere of influence. So I mean, to me, that's very interesting that despite the fact they were in a new place, they still brought Africa to a different place, which shows that Africa is wherever African people are. So we can do the same thing wherever we are and still keep the culture. My
Yeah.
third question is, how has Jamaica helped in the fight of African people around the world? So, like, I'm talking about Jamaica made the OG, just to keep it there. They made Marcus Garvey. They made Bob Marley.
You want to
I
try?
mean, they made Queen Nanny. They made other warriors. Like, how much have y'all done in terms of fighting for Black people around the world? I mean, just give me your take on that.
I think Marcus Garvey is definitely one of the prominent people in terms of when we talk about civil rights movements and we talk about guys like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Marcus Garvey is definitely up there and what he was fighting for and bringing everybody back to Africa. And then you have, again, guys like Bob Marley and then other guys people don't know, like Cecil Cooper, and dudes who weren't really from Jamaica, but they came to Jamaica and studied in like the West Indies universities. Those dudes were prominent in the Black history and had a big impact.
That's big, man. That's big. You know, Garvey with the United Negro Improvement Association. I mean, that set off a
Yeah,
lot of good effects.
they all fought for the same thing. At one point, Bob Marley was on the same thing Marcus Garvey was on. Is trying to get everybody to go back to Africa.
Yeah, especially with the Rastafari movement as well too, and you know, movements like that are very influential. Another question I want to ask you is, in what ways do you want to go back and help Jamaican people and help them become self-sufficient as we should be?
Right now, I think the people are like, it's hard to say. It seems like the people are manipulated and lost in the wrong thing sometimes.
Education is a big problem.
Yeah, they it's like right now they're not, so they don't have as much resources as you'd want them to have. It's hard for them to get things like education and yeah.
So education is one thing you're trying to say.
Education is a problem.
Yeah, education's a problem in the politics. It's been a problem for a while. The politics, it's like running Jamaica down there, and people forget. People go crazy when it's time for elections. It's just like up here. People let politics
Yeah,
get in the way, and they forget that we're all one people. And then you have classism.
that's true. So we gotta fix those situations.
Yeah, it's not very different from what we face up here.
Mhm. Yeah. So I hear that the Chinese are taking over Jamaica. That's been what I've heard for the past couple years. That
Yeah, the
they
government
actually
is.
They're sending out
yeah.
everything. They're sending out the boards. They sold beaches.
We're losing all our resources to the white man.
That's crazy. We gotta fix that. You gotta fix that most definitely. But my last question is to you. Get ready for this. What is your favorite Jamaican dish?
My favorite dish has to be curry goat with rice.
My man, I knew you were gonna say something like
Gotta be
I
curry
knew
goat. I like
man,
the baked goods too though.
that's good
Like
too.
the bun and the bread.
Yeah. I would have to say my favorite dish is rice and peas with escabeche fish. That's me. When mom makes that, it's a wrap for the day. You understand? So that's my favorite dish. But I want to
Yeah,
thank you for taking your time to come on today and share your knowledge. Also gonna have you on again. You're a very intelligent young black brother out here at a young age, which is very important because you are what KYP is supposed to represent. I want to thank you for your time, brother.
thank you.